Hello and welcome to another update video about Sandbox. Sandbox is currently correcting down as the entire crypto market. That was expected. Yeah, we did put on the chart here in my last video this ABC correction. We have come into the target area here. And what we see here on the chart was potentially a first impulse to the upside. I mean, it is a first impulse to the upside. So you had your first 5-wave move, yeah? After the Sandbox hit the target area, basically did the minimum what it needed to do to complete the correction, created a new swing low compared to that wave A low, and everything was fine, yeah? It basically did, as I said, the minimum it needed to do in this correction to complete a correction. Then, next good sign, it created this first impulse. We talked about it. Very nice, yeah? Then it came down in this ABC as expected into the yellow target area here, and you can see how relevant this target area is. So it wasn't any sort of drawn out of the air target area. No, this target area is based on the Fibonacci retracements and based on the probability that this is a wave 2. Yeah, so basically this first 5-wave move to the upside would have been a first wave 1. We are now coming down in a first wave 2 of maybe a beginning uptrend, yeah, and this is typically a good entry, yeah, because as I always say, when you hit your target area, yeah, so the main correction could be complete. I'm not saying it is. I'm saying the main correction could be complete. When we then see a run like that, first impulsive wave to the upside, there is typically no reason to FOMO in. Yeah, and that is what I said throughout. There is no reason to FOMO in because you typically, in your wave 2, if this was a wave 1 then, in your wave 2 you come down quite a lot typically. Yeah, and you have been coming down here to this 88.7% FIB level at 282. But we have come down quite far, to be honest. And this makes me think now if it's going to hold that. In my opinion, it will have difficulties to hold it. If this is a first beginning of an uptrend, then it really needs to start now. If it doesn't, then I think this will, this was probably not a sustainable first uptrend. But let me explain. So obviously, in that wave 2, you typically come down quite a lot. And you can see the FIB levels here. But to really be confident that this is holding and that this is now what you expect next would be a wave 3. And the wave 3 would get above the wave, and the wave 3 would get above that wave 1, yeah, here at 485. Ideally, you would expect now that wave 3 actually to get to the 1.618 FIB level, which would be at 627. That's also where I've got that target area here for that next wave. But the problem is that in this target area, in this yellow target area of that wave 2, normally you would expect it to hold the 88.7% FIB level. So you would expect it to hold here this 263 level, this 282 level, but it did come down to 264. I mean, it did not totally invalidate it, because it would only be invalidated below 256, because this was the beginning of that potential uptrend, yeah. And as per the Elliott wave rules, the wave 2 cannot go below the beginning of wave 1, and that would mean it cannot go below 256. Okay, and so far it hasn't done it, but again, it then tried to move higher, all fine, yeah. But again, it's broken again the 88.7% FIB level, and I know we've got difficult market environments at the moment. There's a lot of volatility at the moment in the market, in the market, uncertainty. But yeah, I've got my doubts with this scenario. I'm just telling you, I'd be careful. Yeah, there is a big risk that we come down lower. But for me personally, anyway, from a long-term investor point of view, the current prices are attractive, and these are actually the dips that I'm personally looking out for when dollar cost averaging in, all right? I cannot guarantee that we are from here going to go up into that wave 3. It is to a degree speculation. I have my doubts basically because we're not holding very firmly here that 282 level. At the moment it's holding, yeah, but we've broken twice already, and that is not a great sign. And also, we are still in this descending, below this descending trend line that you can see here, yeah. So the price has not managed to break above this descending trend line that you can see here on the chart. Yeah, if I zoom out a little bit, you can actually see that better. So we're still below that, and this is basically currently crossing actually also the top of that resistance of that target area. So to really get more confirmation that we break out of that downtrend, I would now want to see the price to break above this swing high here at 344. That it would also be the resistance of that yellow target area. So everybody who's going in now, big risk. Yeah, if you want more confirmation, I would personally wait until that 346 level gets broken, and also here this the breakout out of this descending trend line. Until then, there is a big risk that we continue to go down here and that the 282 actually don't hold, because you can see we already broke it once, that 88.7% fib level, and we broke it twice. Yes, it did hold, but in the end, when you break a level, it typically can suggest that you come down to the next lower level, and that would be 256. So yeah, at the moment, very difficult environment, very uncertain. Yeah, and we are just below resistance, and as long as that resistance level isn't broken, I'd be a bit concerned, especially as the 200-day moving average, you can see in yellow here, is actually coming up, and you're currently below the 200-day moving average again, and that will provide resistance as well, and you're still below the 50-day moving average as well. So no confirmed uptrend yet. Certainly after that peak here on the 8th of February, certainly an interesting dip, and still it is a higher low, but again, we have no sign here that it's starting to go bullish already. Okay, so there is still risk here, absolutely. And for me to wait for a confirmation, I would want to see at least a break above this 345 level here and above this descending trend line. And if you break already above the trend line, why not also take the 50-day moving average? So that would mean a confirmed breakout above 365. That at least I would want to see, and only then I would be more confident that we're actually back in an uptrend here, because at the moment we are not in an uptrend yet. Yeah, you can't really, the only positive thing is really that we had a first impulse here. This here was a 3-wave structure down, and we have hit the target area as expected, but we've come a little bit too low, not invalidated that first uptrend scenario, but we haven't really, since we hit that low, not really seen that what you would really expect when you then get your next wave up, your wave 3 basically. That should really be a rocket start, and I haven't seen it yet. But from a long-term investor point of view, I think these are the dips that I'm personally waiting for. 282 for me personally, a good price, but everybody who's going in now needs to expect lower prices still, from my point of view. Yeah, so that is what I can tell you about the Sandbox at the moment. Looking at the indicators also here, still bearish momentum on the daily chart. The MACD also red. We did recently cross bearish here. Also here we still have a short signal on the ADX down there on the daily chart. What does the 4-day chart do? Because that is quite meaningful as well. Also here the MACD pretty much just moving sideways, has reduced the negative momentum a little bit, but it's not nothing convincing yet. Also still a short signal on the ADX. What does the weekly do? So the more long-term point of view. Just loading a little bit. But generally, yeah, and this is still pointing down, down, down. So this is not bullish, yeah, what the weekly is doing here. And there is even a risk that you get here on the weekly. If I make that ADX larger, I mean, still quite far away from each other, those two lines. But if you get this bearish cross here on the ADX on the weekly, that will definitely be a strong sell signal. So big risk here. But at the moment, it's not there yet. But the MACD is definitely pointing to the downside here on the weekly. So for me personally, if I had to give it my primary expectation, it's really hard to say now. I would say we could really now start to move up, because on the let me just once more go to the shorter time frame here. Let's just check the 4-hour chart, because this is where it could be deciding now, because this is basically deciding about the imminent price moves. Yeah, we're not even oversold or anything. Yeah, there is room for further downside momentum, absolutely. So primarily, I would even say that we haven't seen the low yet, and that we could see the 256 level. Yeah, absolutely. That risk is there. But nevertheless, for me, this is already an area where I would personally dollar cost average in with a time horizon of maybe staying invested for a year or so, because I mean 281 will not be the lowest. We will see higher prices for Sandbox, in my view. But yeah, as I said, primarily I would actually expect that we retest here this previous low at 256 from the 22nd of January, and that we are not yet starting to the upside. You're even seeing here a little bit of a head and shoulders. So yeah, for me, I'm just missing that bullish momentum that should be forming actually, and can't see it yet. And especially that lower high here is not what I'd like to see. Yeah, especially here if I zoom in that yellow target area, that lower high, it messes it up a little bit. Yeah, so it's not looking too good, really. Not looking too good, especially as you made basically, yeah, it was starting good, a high, higher low, higher high, that was still acceptable, but then you do a lower high and a lower low, and that is just not what I would want to see here. All right, so primarily my expectation would be we come once more a little bit lower, but from a longer term point of view, attractive, especially as after that first peak here, and everybody who didn't FOMO in, it might be an opportunity now from a longer term point of view, because you never know if we come down lower. But if you break here the, we already broke the 282 again anyway. Next support would be 264, and then yeah, 256, and these are sort of the next support levels I'm watching out for. Yeah, so I think there is more downside potential, and with 256, if you go below that, that will even invalidate that first uptrending scenario here. So yeah, it's a lot of uncertainty in the markets, and that's really everything I can tell you. I can definitely tell you there is no confirmed uptrend yet. Yeah, it's a potential there, but there's no confirmed uptrend yet. So yeah, be careful, really. Yeah. All right. So thanks a lot for watching. Hope you liked the update about the Sandbox. If you did, please smash the like button and subscribe. And yeah, also if you really like the content, then check out the channel membership. Thanks a lot for watching. Bye bye.